The KGB's poison umbrella assassinations. It looks harmless, even elegant, a simple umbrella, but in the hands of the KGB it became a weapon of silence, precision, and death. Hello my friends, welcome to Secret Agents Exposed. Today, we dive into a story so wild, so shocking, so interesting you won't believe it's true. Let's start. It could end a man's life in a matter of days, with just a prick so small he might not even notice. This is the true story of the KGB's poison umbrella assassinations, how Soviet intelligence used science, stealth, and paranoia to silence their enemies forever. Death on the bridge. It was September 17, 1978, London. A dreary, rainy afternoon. A Bulgarian journalist and defector named Georgy Markov stood waiting for his bus near Waterloo Bridge. Suddenly he felt a sharp sting on the back of his thigh. Like a bee sting, he turned around. A man behind him had dropped an umbrella. He apologized in a thick accent, picked it up, and hurried away into the crowd. Markov didn't think much of it until 3 days later. He was dead. The autopsy reveals a secret. Doctors were baffled. There were nitrogen monoxide visible wounds, nitrogen monoxide signs of illness. But Markov had died a slow, agonizing death, with massive organ failure. When the autopsy was performed, the truth shocked even the most hardened investigators. A tiny metallic pellet just 17 millimeters in diameter was found, embedded in his leg. It had 2 small holes drilled into it like a pepper shaker. Inside, a deadly poisoned ricin, one of the most toxic substances known to man. There's nitrogen monoxide antidote, and only micrograms are needed to kill. It had been injected using a modified umbrella. Markov hadn't been stung by a bee, he had been assassinated. How the umbrella gun worked. It was one of the most ingeniously designed weapons of the Cold War. The KGB umbrella gun, also known as the Bulgarian umbrella, looked like any ordinary umbrella, but hidden inside the shaft was a compressed gas mechanism triggered by pressing a button on the handle. When fired, it silently ejected a small pellet at close range, piercing clothing and embedding into flesh without the victim realizing anything was wrong. By the time symptoms appeared, fever, nausea, internal bleeding, it was too late. The pellet dissolved slowly, releasing the poison directly into the bloodstream. No bang nitrogen monoxide trace, just death. Why Markov was targeted. Markov's TV appearances, his books, angry protests in Bulgaria. Georgy Markov wasn't just a random target. He had once been a celebrated writer in communist Bulgaria, but after defecting to the West he became a fierce critic of the regime. His broadcasts for the BBC and Radio Free Europe reached millions, openly mocking the Bulgarian dictator Todor Zhivkov and exposing corruption. The Bulgarian government saw him as a threat, but they didn't have the means to eliminate him on their own, so they turned to their powerful ally, the Soviet KGB. Together they planned one of the most high-profile assassinations in Cold War history, and they got away with it. Other victims, surveillance photos, Cold War maps, other suspicious deaths. Markov's murder wasn't an isolated case. Just 10 days earlier, another Bulgarian defector, Vladimir Kostov, had felt a similar sting while walking through a Paris metro station. He survived, but doctors found a similar metal pellet in his back. Was this a practice run? Intelligence experts believe the umbrella gun was used in multiple assassinations across Europe during the 1970s, and 8 OS targets included journalists, scientists, diplomats, and double agents. The common thread: they all defied the Kremlin, and most of them were never officially investigated. Denials and cover-ups. The Bulgarian government denied any involvement. The Soviets, of course, said nothing. KGB archives later confirmed that Department V, the Wet Work Division, was responsible for covert assassinations. They specialized in poisons, car bombs, and quiet kills, but to this day, no one has been charged in Georgy Markov's murder. The man with the umbrella was never found. Some say he returned to Moscow under diplomatic immunity. Others claim he disappeared forever. One witness later said, "You don't catch a ghost with fingerprints." In the world of espionage, the most dangerous weapons are the ones you never see. The poison umbrella was a symbol of a regime that would do anything to silence dissent. It blurred the line between science fiction and terrifying reality, and for those living under authoritarian rule, it was a chilling reminder. You could run, you could hide, but if the state wanted you dead, they would find you, even in the middle of London, even in broad daylight, even with something as simple as an umbrella. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more true intelligence cases, Cold War betrayals, and spy gadgets you won't believe existed. See you in the next video with unique story.